Good morning. Bueno, primero, buenos días. Voy a hablar en mi idioma local. Bienvenidos a Buenos Aires, a todos los de Latinoamérica y que hablan castellano. Pero voy a tener que pasar al inglés. Perdón. So, I was greeting my fellow people from Latin America and Buenos Aires and Argentina. And excusing, we will have to speak in English. But for the rest, a very warm welcome to Argentina and Buenos Aires. I hope meat and Malbec is treating you well. For vegetarians, this is not the good city, though there's good Italian food. So that just to begin. And what I wanted to do in this very brief presentation was to speak a little bit about why we have chosen this topic and also why it is important for our region, not only for the rest of the world. So my first slide has to do with why this topic. It is, as you can imagine, and as you know, most of you, a very controversial and difficult topic. It is similarly that what happened with children, we witnessed this paradoxical situation of this protection that finally unprotects. We know, for example, that only 12 medications are labeled for the use in pregnancy by the FDA, and that 98% of the drugs approved are not studied in pregnant women. We know they have a different metabolization, and we know also that women use medication during pregnancy. Women get ill, or ill women get pregnant, as very well Maggie Little said this. So this is really an issue, and we should try to work on these issues. So there are different kinds of problems we may face. As I'm a philosopher, I have to speak a little bit just to mention the philosophical or the theoretical concerns we have. But these theoretical concerns have an impact in practice. So one issue is, how do we conceptualize pregnant women? Do we have two independent patients, women and the fetus, the newborn later? Is it a double unit and the woman has decisional capacity? Is it only her? What happens with a male partner, with a father, with a family? We will see that this is not so simple in this case. And the other issue I wanted to point is that mostly when we speak of pregnant women, we say that they are vulnerable. But this is a quite complex concept, and how it should be applied in this context. Not very long ago, the International Bioethics Committee of UNESCO said, for example, that women were vulnerable populations. So if half of the population are vulnerable, what are we doing with pregnant women? So here we have also a theoretical concern, but that has practical consequences. There are also practical and strategic concerns, like informed consent and labor. How are we going to manage this? Competency, in this situation. The partner's involvement, how we consider them, the family's involvement. So these are not minor issues, and these are not minor issues when in some contexts, in some communities, where this is also quite heavily felt. There are also context concerns, and I will refer to the situation of Latin America, because I think that this is also a concern for us. The Latin American context is highly critical of research, generally. We have a very sometimes problems with research ethics committees and certain oppositions, stubborn oppositions. And this may be even worse in the case of pregnant women, not allowing any kind of research to be done with them. So while some very specific kind of research may be accepted, like postpartum hemorrhage or other very focused research, other kind of research may be strongly resisted. And we can begin working with different kinds of research that focus more on the woman's health, or and we will find very, very high resistance. But also we have a special context, and this is the situation of abortion. Generally, a woman that participates in a research does not want to undergo an abortion. It is not the case of an undesired pregnancy, so it is a different situation. She's not seeking an abortion. However, during the study, there might be serious teratogenic effects or even some information that may lead to consider an abortion. And given this situation, we should think carefully. What are the special safeguards we can have? For example, I've spoken with some people. First, in some countries, we do have abortions for when the woman is at risk or her health is at risk. But there's no, it's more difficult to find this exception in the case of malformations. And some lawyers and people working in research ethics committees had told me, well, if there's any problem, it's the woman's responsibility. She wanted to participate in our research. She knew it was dangerous. So she cannot ask for an abortion, nor something similar. So you have also this kind of resistance that is out there. So even blame can come to the women that want to participate in an abortion. She's not a responsible mother. She is exposing her future child to these unknown risks. So this is part, I think, of the context, and I imagine that in Africa we will have other problems and similar, and in Asia other, but I think that it is important also to consider each region and the obstacles and challenges this kind of research presents. And my last slide goes to then come again to this idea of why the Global Forum. It is an open forum for discussion where we will try to see and we will try to discuss how to do ethical research with pregnant women, what safeguards should be in place, if there are relevant differences when the treatment should be to be studied is prevented or therapeutic, if we have to make some differences, which we should do. How should we balance risks and benefits to the women and to the fetus? Are there limits to what research to do? And also we will consider, for example, what do ethical guidelines advise and what do they say? So I think that our hope with this meeting is open the discussion for all of these questions and many more that will probably arise in the course of these 2 days. So my welcome to all of you on behalf of the Wellcome Trust. My thanking to the Wellcome Trust and all the work they have done to organize this and to pass all the bureaucratic problems to get visas to some people to arrive. I didn't know Argentina was so difficult before this meeting. and my welcome for a very fruitful meeting through these 2 days. Thank you very much.